All right, so I'm gonna be working on squats today. I'm gonna get into lunges. I'm also going to do some functional training. So before that, I'm gonna do a little bit of mobility and then get into my first working sets. Timeline for today, I have gone through my daily car routine or my controlled articular rotation routine. I'll go over that for about 10 minutes each morning, just to check each joint. And then I ran 1.5 miles in 11 minutes and 35-second time. So I found my VO2 max today, which was 45, which is pretty good for my age. It's not superior, but it is above average. And so I need to maintain and try to optimize my cardio times and try to get that number up to maybe 50, 55, or 60. I think I can do that. I've never made that a goal, but I think in the future, I definitely want to get that up because I want my cardio capacity to be at its prime that it can be, especially since heart health is so important and my body feels really good. So we've been sitting in the squat for a little bit of time. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do is I'm going to squeeze my hands together and I'm gonna lift my chest. I'm gonna notice a deep stretch in my hip flexors. And then also I put a little bit of strain on your feet and on your back. So just bring the chest up and then down. Just up and then down. Now from here, I'm gonna try to get those knees up to my shoulders. So actively engaging my hip flexors and my ankles, dorsiflexion of my ankles. So I'm going to dorsiflex my ankles and flex my hips further into this position. And then from here, just going to try to bring my chest up. And then back down. Then from here, I'm going to assume a deadlift position, and I'm going to place my hands underneath my feet, the inside upper feet. And what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to bring my hips up like I'm going all the way up in the deadlift. I'm going to keep my hips down. I'm going to use an isometric contraction here. My pals effort is going to be trying to deadlift my feet up and pushing my hands down, so I'm not going to go anywhere. And then my rails effort, I'm going to bring my hands together and try to sink further into this position. So I'm going to just try to relax my legs before I go into that because I've been through a couple strenuous positions already. All right. Let me get this on. %, effort, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 to 100, and hold it for 10 seconds. And then regressive angle. And then passively stretch. That's going to allow you to sink deeper into your squats. I'm going to get my hip flexors now. Now, I have really sensitive knees for some reason, so what I'll do is I'll place a block underneath my knee or a pad. I also like to use these supports for more radiation. So if you do have sticks or dowels, these are just from rooms, you can use them. Gonna set up the mat. Ooh. All right. So we're gonna get our hip flexors. I'm gonna dig these dowels into the ground, try to keep my arms straight. I'm going to posteriorly pelvic tilt my hips. So my hips are gonna go back, okay? And my left glute is gonna try to sink behind my head and neck, and I'm gonna extend my back. So really just trying to keep a straight back, straighten the arms. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna progressively press my knee into the mat. Now you go as safe as you can. Now, if this is really strenuous and you're just holding this, then just hold that. Okay, we're gonna hold, breathe, irradiate, squeeze the body, a little bit more pressure, and then regressive angle, sink in a little bit deeper. Good. Switch. I'm just going through these real quick. If they don't feel good for you, like they don't really feel that great for me for some reason, so I'm gonna go through these pretty fast. Feels better on my right side. For some reason I feel some pain in that left side, so I'm just gonna stay away from it for now. Good, then we can go into our hamstring, so bend the knee. Head is up here, breathe and hold. Same body position with the back. This time the knee is bent, and you should feel it in your hamstring. And in our rails effort, we're trying to pull that foot up off the ground here. It's active hip flexion. And then you can also try to dig the heel into the ground and the dowels for the hamstring and the hip. Working on cows and rails for the hip flexion. And our rails effort. Switch. You can also do that in this position as well. See how you can get that knee. Switch. Hamstring, back straight, arch into the lower back. Dig deep here, bend the knee slightly. Remember the hips sink back, posteriorly tilt. Good. From here, you can go into the regressive angle. Work in the tissue on the opposite side of the leg. And then with the knee bent, same thing. Good. You can work with knee flexion here as well. And I can try to bend that knee in as hard as I can. I can also do some ankle cars here. We can do some ankle cars in this position with our knee actively flexed. So you might get a hamstring cramp. Switch. So I'm noticing if I have my knee further up, it's a lot less pain than when I bring my knee all the way back. I feel more pain. So if you do feel pain, just bring your knee a little bit closer like that. I think that'll help. And from here, active knee flexion, all the way to the glute, dorsiflex to the glute, and then ankle cars. Then switch. and relax. Good. Now we're gonna get some paddles and rails for the ankles and tricep surae. So we're gonna start in battle. What is this? Battle position? I forget what they call this. Anyway, one foot is plantar flexed. The other foot is dorsiflexed. Okay. So this is the combat position. What we're going to do is the foot that's dorsiflexed, we're going to lean over the lead leg, and we're going to try to bring the chest and sternum over the knee. So not on the inside, trying to cup up and around. Then from here, we're going to start plantar flexing the foot into the ground from this angle, from this dorsiflexed angle. We're going to start pressing the toes down, pedaling those toes down into the ground. So we'll gotta start that one over. All right, we're back. Let's go with this. All right, so we're going to work on the ankle, the tricep surae, the calf, and the knee before we get into our squats. So we're going to start in the battle. I don't know why I keep messing this name up. The battle seat, I don't know. Combat. Okay, this is your combat position. Again, we want your your front leg dorsiflexed. Okay, so we're going to start over. Let's see. All right, so we're going to start in combat position. Our front foot here is dorsiflexed. Our back foot is plantar flexed. What we're going to do is we have extreme knee flexion and hip flexion in the front leg, and the back knee is also flexed almost at capacity here. So our heels are almost to both of our glutes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring our chest up and around and over top of the knee. And then from here, we're just going to lean forward and feel that stretch, that stretch in the back of the lower leg here. So we're just going to hold here for upwards of 2 minutes. And then after about 1 to 2 minutes, you're going to begin to start pushing the front foot down into the ground. So you're going to use the foot to plantar flex, and you're going to push down from 5% all the way to 100%. And after you go up to 100%, instead of pushing down, you're going to pull up. So you're going to try to pull the foot up off the ground, even though you might not be able to. You're going to try to pull it upward. So you're going to go from using the tissue on the back of the leg all the way to the front leg. So the PALS effort is going to activate the regressive or the So your PALS effort is going to target the posterior tissue, and the RALS effort is going to target the anterior tissue. So as you plantar flex down, you're going to activate the posterior tissue, and then when you dorsiflex up, you're going to activate the anterior tissue. So in our progressive angular isometric load, what we're doing is we're pushing plantar flex from 5% to 100%. We're going to hold that upwards of 10 to 15 seconds, and then we're going to use the RALs, the regressive angular isometric load, and the dorsiflex using the fibularis anterior muscles and the tissue on the front of the leg for your RALs effort. So we're going to begin by PALS effort, 5 to 100%. Using all your muscles in your body. RALs effort, trying to lift the toe up and sinking deeper in. And then passively hold and stretch. And then switch. So from here, we're in our battle. I don't know why I keep messing that up. So here we're in our combat stance with our front knee over our front toe. Our back toe is plantar flex or pointed back. Our front toe is pointed forward here in the dorsiflex position. We're going to hold this passive stretch from 1 to 2 minutes, focusing on the posterior tissue stretch. And then we're going to progressively then we're going to use PALS effort, which is using the progressive angular isometric load to press the foot into the ground, gas pedal down, and regressive is the dorsiflex and use the tissue on the front. So we're going to go ahead and begin 0 to 100% with our PALS effort. And then our RALs effort, pulling up. And then passively stretching. Good. Okay. After that, if you want to go ahead and do some ankle curls, you have a lot of restriction with your shoes on. So definitely not best to do it with your shoes on. We're going to target our knees now. So our tibia can externally and internally rotate, out, in. Just remember that. Out, in, external, out, internal, in. Okay, so our tibia here is going to externally and internally rotate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the same sided arm underneath, and I'm going to lock the opposite hand. Okay, or I'm going to lock hands here. This leg can be straight and relaxed. What we're going to do is we're just going to go external to internal to start. And then I want you to bend that knee as much as you can so that you're almost trying to squeeze your tricep surae here into your forearm or your calf muscle or the combination of your gastroc, soleus, and Achilles. You're trying to trap it in between your hamstrings here. So trying to trap it, externally rotate, extend, in and down, out, in, up and down, out, up, in, down, in, up, out, down, point the toe, get a couple ankle cars, and then switch. Okay. Good. You can also focus on your external rotation and your internal rotation of the foot, and you can create
more tissue around the knee to protect it by using these pals and rails efforts. So if I'm pulling that foot, what I'm trying to do here is passively stretch to start, and then I'm going to, my pals effort will be to externally rotate the foot. And when I'm not going to allow it, which you're going to start feeling it in the knee. Okay? I'm trying to do some E version of the foot. And I won't be able to. And then what I'll do for my rails effort is I'll just hold strong and I'll try to put my foot into inversion or internal rotation even further. So this is external rotation, pals and rails. I'm going to begin by passively stretching my foot as it's internally rotated, or my tibia. This is external and internal rotation, pals and rails for the tibia. So what we're going to do is start an internal rotation. We're going to hold the outside of our foot with the opposite hand. We're going to latch on to our forearm with the same sided hand. We're going to hold here and passively stretch upwards to 1 to 2 minutes. Then we're going to start our pals effort, which is our progressive angle, which will be to externally rotate the foot in this angle right here, which is a lot bigger than this angle. So we're going to try to progressively, angular, isometric load it out, but I'm not going to allow it to move anywhere. I'm going to go 5 to 100%. After 100% effort, I'm going to internally rotate my foot further than my hands. I'm going to use my hand as a blocking point. I'm not going to push it. I'm going to see how much it can do on its own. Then after that, I'm going to grasp it and come back to my passive stretch into my new range of motion. Okay, so for pals and rails, for internal rotation of the tibia, what we're going to do is we're going to start an external rotation of the tibia. The same sided hand grasping the inside of the front of the foot. Then from here, we're going to reach underneath the calf of the triceps surae, and we're going to hold passively for upwards to 1 to 2 minutes. We're going to breathe and hold, 4 second inhale, 8 second exhale. And then we're going to begin our pals effort by trying to internally rotate our tibia. We're going to hold our hands strong and create an isometric contraction. We're going to go as much as we can, safe as we can, from 0 to 100%. After you hold that for about 10 seconds, you'll begin your rails effort where you'll block your foot. You'll use this as a barrier, and you're going to try to externally rotate your foot in the regressive angle of the rails effort. Then after that, you'll go back to that stretch. All right, go ahead and try that. All right, so we need to get the other side here. So for internal rotation of the tibia, what we're going to do is we're going to start an external rotation, noticing that big angle in this point of view. We're going to hold here, and we're going to begin our pals effort from 0 to 100%, trying to internally rotate the tibia. We're going to hold this strong, 0 to 100%. And then when we're ready, we're going to block it and try to externally rotate that foot or that tibia out, and then come back to your passive stretch. Good. All right, so we've gotten the feet, we've gotten the hamstrings, touched on the calves a little bit, or the triceps surae. You can get those in other ways if you're tight. This is one. And again, you can begin your pals effort by pressing the front of the foot into the ground. So for example, so if you're trying to stretch all 3 components of your lower leg, your triceps surae, which is your gastroc, medius, your soleus, and your Achilles tendon, what you want to do is step 1 foot back, so your tri leg and your lead leg. Your tri leg is getting the stretch, and the triceps surae, which is the combination of those three muscles. We're going to hold here passively from 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're going to begin pressing that toe or the whole foot into the ground, trying to plantar flex the foot in this position. And you're not going to be able to go anywhere, but you're able to contract isometrically, and you're going to go from 0 to 100%. So your body's going to slowly, progressively tense all the way to 100%, and then your regressive angle will be to dorsiflex further into this position using the tissue on the front of the lower limb. And so you're getting both angles of the tissue, creating more mobility in that angle. After that, you would slightly go from back leg is straight to back leg is slightly bent, and you're trying to bend that knee forward, the trail leg forward. Same thing, pals effort, toe down, rails effort, toes up. And then your last one would be to bring the foot all the way up a wall, pals effort, push down, rails effort, pull up. Okay, other side. So if we're trying to stretch the triceps surae, which is a combination of the gastroc, soleus, and Achilles tendon, what we want to do is find a wall or a bar here. The trail leg is going to get the stretch. The front leg is just going to be the support. We're going to straighten that trail leg out until you feel a deep stretch in your triceps surae. Front leg is bent slightly. You can straighten the arms here. You're going to hold this passive stretch from 0 to 2 minutes. Trying to hold this stretch for 1 to 2 minutes, And then our progressive angular isometric load, or our PALS effort, will be to push the foot into the ground as hard as it can from 0 to 100% safely. And then the rails, or the pulling action, the regressive angular isometric load, will be to pull the toe up off the ground and go deeper into this stretch actively. And then we'll go back to our passive effort. So we're going to passively hold this position 1 to 2 minutes. Breathe in for 4, out for 8. Then we're going to begin our PALS effort, which is going to be pushing the trail foot into the ground as hard as it can go safely from 5% all the way to 100%. You're going to hold safely for upwards of 10 seconds, contracting the entire body. And then after that, for 10 seconds, you're going to use your rails effort. You're going to pull the foot up toward the sky, trying to sink deeper into the stretch, upwards to 10 seconds, and then go back to your passive stretch. And then switch. Now you can do that same PALS effort. So this will get your gastroc. This will get your soleus. With the back leg, instead of it being straight this time, it's going to come in halfway, and it's going to bend as much as it can forward toward the wall. Okay? Front knee is about the same knee bend. Okay? You're going to feel it in your knee, maybe. You're going to definitely feel it in your soleus here. Same thing. PALS effort, push down with the toe. Rails effort, pull up, dorsiflex. And then your last, your last exercise to get the Achilles would be to pull that, or to bring that foot all the way up the wall. PALS effort, push down. Rails effort, up the wall. So those three can be used to get the entire lower limb. All right. So that's PALS and rails for the triceps surae, or the combination of the gastroc soleus and Achilles tendon. That's using the FRC principles through Dr. Enduro Spine. Woo! All right, so now we're going to get into our squats. After we're warmed up. Should probably warm up my back as well. I think it's probably just as important, if not more important, to warm up your back and your shoulders for your back squats, because you're going to be in this position. That back extension and your shoulder abduction and flexion. So gonna have to touch on those as well if you wanna have a really good squat day. Okay, so we can kind of hit both of those at the same time. Bring our head down. Dorsiflex our feet here, toes are digging into the ground. This time we're going to posteriorly tilt our hips into the ground. So from here we're going to bring one arm into flexion, or one fist off the ground. And make sure the shoulder is retracted, meaning it's not reaching up, it's back and in. From here, just gonna reach that fist up high, turn the shoulder and armpit around, and back. So palms face up, and then try to turn palms face down. Palms face up, palms face down. And then switch. Try to axially rotate the glenohumeral joint here. And you can do this in all different positions. Working on back extension. Okay, we're got some scorpion. The girl's ready. Here we go, here we go.
This was the drill of the real acronym.